my friends. This is Dion Nardone. Myself, the Just Nuts Band, and Chris Ruggiero are asking you for your support and to please vote for us, the East Coast Music Hall of Fame.
I'm from WVOX Radio and also host of tonight's episode, This is Rock and Roll. We have Mr. Dion Nardone.
Welcome to another edition of This is Rock and Roll. My name is Dion Nardone, and as always, I want to say thank you to Mary for the wonderful introduction, and as always, she just looks beautiful, and thank you very much. Tonight's show, we are going to the Bronx, New York, because this gentleman has been a Bronxite all his life. Singer, performer, musician. He's done it all, and it's always an honor to bring this gentleman on. We had him on probably 2 years ago with the band, the group, and now we have him solo. He is from the Earls. Larry Chance and the Earls. Let's say hello to Bobby Tribuzio. How's that?
Everybody does that. Now, you've been saying my name forever, but you still do.
Tribuzio. Anyway,
Right,
Bobby T.
yeah.
I'll make it easy on myself.
Yeah,
Let me say hello to Bobby T.
Pleasure,
Long-time
Daddy.
drummer,
Pleasure.
50 plus years with the Earls.
57, actually.
57,
Yeah.
all right. And you've been around the world with the Earls.
Around the world, I'm back again.
And you're back again. But anyway, let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
All right, born in the Bronx.
Absolutely.
Fordham Road section.
Belmont section, actually.
Belmont section.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the Arthur Avenue section.
Right.
Little Italy section.
Matter of fact, right on Arthur Avenue.
Right on Arthur Avenue.
Literally born in my mother's apartment, delivered by a midwife.
Oh, okay.
You know, she was kind of tired of going to Fordham Hospital.
Yeah.
So she stayed home, and there I was.
All right, from Arthur Avenue, Bobby T. Okay, so you're born, you're 13, 14 years old. Is that when you started getting interested in music?
Well, what happened was my Uncle Pat, he introduced jazz music and drums to my older brothers. And I was always around, you know, the third guy down the line. And I was listening, and I liked it a lot. And so the drums were like in my blood already when I was 8, 9, 10. And then one day my brother, who since passed, brought home this album, and it was literally an album of the 1938 concert, Benny Goodman at Carnegie Hall. It was a bunch of 78s and an album.
Okay.
And one of the cuts was Sing, Sing, Sing. Well, when I heard that cut, it did it for me. It gave me goosebumps. Gene Krupa's Tom Toms was scary and also something I knew I wanted to do, and that's how the drums started. So from there, I always wanted to be a jazz drummer.
Now, how do you, you're in an apartment building, right?
Yes. Well, you know.
You start pounding on drums in the
No,
apartment.
we used to pound on pots and pans and stuff like that, and do the drums elsewhere. But anyway, so now I want to. So
How old were you at the time?
When I got out there and started.
No, when you started pounding on learning the drums.
10, 11 maybe.
You took lessons, or you?
Self-taught.
Self-taught.
Yeah. Besides school, you know, where we learned so much.
Okay.
You know, but so I wanted to be a jazz drummer. So what happened was when I got out into the field, as they say, I realized if I wanted to play drums, I'm going to have to play the music of the time, and that happened to be rock and roll.
Okay.
So I started to play rock and roll.
So what are we talking? 56? 1956
well,
or so?
I mean, I started like 13 years old or 14 years old out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you could say around there. So, and I know you know this name, Jimmy Fracassi.
Yeah.
Jimmy and I met, and we started a rock and roll band, and we started to play local clubs.
From way back then, playing with Jimmy Fracassi.
Way back then.
Wow.
So now we were playing a lot of clubs, and then we wound up in the Metropole Cafe. Well, you know what happened was...
So now you're a teenager or some...
Well, actually, I'm 16.
16 at the time?
Yeah.
And you're playing a club?
I'm playing 16.
What high school were you in at 16?
Roosevelt.
16,
you don't even belong in nightclubs.
Right, sure.
Somehow we did it. And, well, I always looked a little older anyway. But anyway, so this agent came into a Bronx club that we were working and says, if you guys get a good singer, I can get you a lot of work in Manhattan. So we did. So we started to work all the clubs, the Headliner, Wagon Wheel, Peppermint Lounge, then the
Peppermint Lounge.
the Metropole. And at the Metropole,
Well, you said if you get a good singer, who was the singer?
Well, somebody from the neighborhood by the name of Richard Pecchio, okay, and he could sing. So we wound up in the Metropole Cafe, was what really was a big jazz club, but management decided to like bring rock and roll bands in a matinee situation.
Oh, okay.
We were one of the first bands, and matinee meaning started 1:45 in the afternoon, and we ended at 7:45 at night.
Yeah.
Two bands.
Okay.
And when we first got in, we were opposite another band called Ronnie Speaks and the Elrods, who the drummer happened to be Dino Danelli. So we go that far back also.
Well, I was going to say that because wasn't Gene Cornish and Dino playing at the Peppermint Lounge?
Well, that came later, though.
Oh, that came later.
Yeah, later.
All right, let me ask you this. We have a video of you drum solo.
Yes.
What year was this about?
Oh, this is maybe, oh my goodness, not too long ago, 8, 9 years ago. And the drum solo is our manager, Paul Kay.
Yeah.
He has a ice cream parlor slash eatery called Panda's Parlor.
Okay.
And we did a show for him one day outdoors, and that's where the drum solo.
So we got Bobby T. He's with Jimmy Fracassi.
Yeah.
And you got a rock and roll band. What was the name of the band at that time?
Richie and the Perfections.
Richie and the
Perfections.
Okay.
Like, perfect.
Yes.
So what happened? Now, of course, we were in and out of the Metropole a lot because even though they didn't really like rock and roll bands because it was such a big jazz club.
Yeah.
But they knew what to do. They knew the sign of the times. So we were in and out, Jimmy and myself, with that group. And then one day I got a call. When we were open, I got a call to work with another group there for 2 weeks, Johnny Serrano. And I took Dino Danelli's place because he took off to do something with Felix Cavalieri.
Yeah.
While I'm there, now, this is how the Earls come in. While I'm working there, Jimmy's started to do some gigs with the Earls. He was maybe there for a month or two, and he brought Jack Ray, the original bass singer, down to see me at the Metropole because they were looking for a drummer also. So Jack came down, and he liked what he heard. He went back. He spoke to Larry, and that's how the Earls
All right, so
started.
Hold that note before we get to the Earls.
Okay.
Let's show this video of you playing the drums on the solo.
Sure.
Little taste of Bobby T of the Earls for some 50 plus years.
Yes.
Let's say watch the monitor. Bobby T doing a solo on the drums. All right, we are back. My name is Dennis Dion Nardone. The name of the show is This is Rock and Roll. My guest tonight, Bobby T of the Earls. And Bobby, before we get into the Earls and all these years and performing and how it all started, let's take you back. Now, you're from that neighborhood, Arthur Avenue, and you're a little younger than Dion and the Belmonts.
Right.
And I just get a thrill like I felt like I'm there. Tell me, like, you seen Freddie, Angelo, Carlo, you knew them? Like, again, they're a couple of years older than you, but you seen them in the neighborhood back then?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's more than a couple of years, so I knew these guys were around all the time. Mm-hmm. And I used to see them walking by here and there. And I was in awe.
Yeah.
Literally. I really didn't get to know them then because of the age difference. But as time went by, I got.
Did you ever get to hear them sing in the neighborhood at all? Like
No.
on the corner or somewhere, and we decided
Well,
to.
no,
Because
but-
Dion always said when he started the Belmonts,
Yeah.
I went out and find the best 3 singers in the neighborhood.
That's
so I
true.
always said, well, I wonder how they sounded back then, you know. Besides, you know, hear the records of, but how they would really sound if anyone actually heard them singing on the streets.
I never heard them sing on the streets, but
Yeah.
Larry and the Earls, right before I joined the group,
Yeah.
they did a show at the City Island Playhouse, and the headliners was Dion and the Belmonts, the Earls, and some other like local groups.
And you were in the Earls at the time.
No, it was right before I was in the
Okay.
Earls. Yeah,
All right. Before we get into that, I want to put a little sidebar.
sure.
Okay? This show's being recorded on February 3rd. I want to take you back to February 3rd, 1959. I guess you were about, I'm going to guess, 13 years old or so.
Yeah, well, I was born in '46. So
Do you
figure it out.
remember, do you recall when you first heard that the plane crashed with Big Bopper,
Yeah,
Richie Valens,
I do.
and Buddy Holly?
Yes, I do. What happened was my older brother came home talking about it,
Uh-huh.
and that's how I heard it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on the television or hear it on the radio, but my brother was talking about it.
Right,
And we all felt pretty bad.
Yeah, because I'm sure you remember that song, Donna, at the time.
Oh,
It was a big song.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
Big Bopper. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to feel, I just wanted to get your experience of, you know, I was, you know, too young to really understand it. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, you have a voice. When did you
I do.
discover you could sing?
Well, again, before I even met Jimmy,
Yeah.
I used to sing on this corner or that corner with guys who
So
wanted to
you actually
harmonize.
sang under the street lights and back in the 50s.
So to speak, yeah.
Ah,
So
great.
and so I did that too, but always with the thought of being a jazz drummer.
Uh-huh.
But I had an ear for the music, you know, to sing on the corner. And what did I do? I picked up the baritone note, and I sang baritone in these various groups.
Right.
And so I was a part of that also.
Right,
But
right.
getting back to the Earls, so when Jack Ray went back and he spoke to Larry and he said, you know, we got, you know, this is the guy, along with Jimmy Fracassi and Richie Levister, who was a fantastic organ player. He played a B3, and he was the brains of the group too. We started doing gigs all over the place. And one night I said, Larry didn't know this yet. I said, Larry, can I come up front one night and sing a tune? He said, what? I said, yeah. I said, yeah, you know, I can do it. So I did. I came up and I did the ABCs of Love.
Okay. Teenager song.
And at that time, I mean, from that point, they realized that I could do it and became part of the act.
Right.
Yeah. So I got up there and I sang. But now today, and for many years actually,
Yeah.
I'm singing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because the group broke down from 7 men to 5 men. So I'm singing second tenor and I'm playing drums. Many years.
Yes. How many years now with the Earls?
57.
57. All right, so now you're a member of the Earls, 1963.
63? I guess, yeah.
Okay. And did he have hits out already, Larry? Or
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Member.and was just dropping off the charts, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And then we had others, whatever followed Member.and. Also, we had the album, which was made some noise, Remember Me Baby.
Yeah.
And on the album are all those hits plus other things we wanted to cover. So, and you could probably...
All right, take me to City Island, that
Sure,
concert.
sure.
Tell me about that concert we were going to talk about.
Well, I didn't see that concert.
Okay.
But I happen to know that
Yeah.
the Earls
Yeah.
performed that day with Dion
and the
Belmont.
Belmonts, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, through the course of your career with the Earls, you performed with Dion, no?
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, of course you did.
Matter of
You
fact,
perform with every group just about out there, and probably just about every venue.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just spoke to Dion before Christmas. He was going on a cruise.
Talk about Dion. We have a picture of you and Dion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's at a neighborhood function.
Yeah.
And there's me and Dion very clear. And if you look close, you can see the neck of a guitar, and that's Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy's
yeah.
not in the picture, but a piece of his guitar is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple of pictures. We have one of you with Dion, And then you have another picture with Gene Krupa. He's
Oh,
your
yeah.
idol back then? Was he? You just loved him, right?
Still my idol.
It's still your idol.
Always will be. Always will.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
you know what happened when we were working the Metropole. Gene Krupa was in and out of that club constantly.
Yeah.
You know, performing.
Yeah.
And that's how I met him. And forget
All
it.
right.
Forget
I'll
it.
tell you what we're going to do now.
Top of the
We're
world.
going to go to the video,
Okay.
the monitor. We're going to watch you with the Earls performing. Larry Chance, of course,
Sure.
on lead. Let's go to the monitor, watch the monitor. Here is Larry Chance and the Earls with Bobby T performing with the Earls.
I've had night we fell in love beneath the stars above. It was a lovely summer night. Remember then. Remember then. The summer's over. Our love is over. To lose that love was such a sin. Remember, our love is in the past. Oh, has it gone so fast? Why couldn't our love last? I'm broken hearted now, since we had parted now. My mind wanders now and then. Remember then.
All right, we are back. Once again, my name is Dennis Dion Nardone. Name of the show, This is Rock and Roll. And my guest tonight, Bobby T of the Earls. And if you're watching this show and you like music, and if you like rock and roll, I'm sure you've seen Bobby T somewhere along the line. Because number one, he's from the Bronx all his life. And number two, he's been in rock and roll. And he's with one of the main groups that came out of the Bronx, Larry Chance and the Earls. And Bobby T,
yeah.
the Earls.
Yeah.
All right, early 60s.
Yeah.
Larry's pumping out hits, playing all over the radio, all over the place.
Yeah.
Great songs, I Believe, Remember Then, on and on and on, knocking out albums, this and that. And you're traveling, you're having a great time, you're a young man. Then a group called the Beatles come.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think resurface of the oldie shows was like the late 70s.
Early.
So, of course, let me jump ahead a little.
Okay.
The Earls, just as strong now as they were then, popular, performing. Oldie shows are all over the place, all along the eastern border. You go to Florida, you go here, you go there, you're down to Vegas, and, of course, in the local area. But going back to 1964, doo-wop, pop music kind of stopped because the Beatles just put up like a shield of
Yeah.
Beatlemania.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. What happened to you guys? Did you slow down a little?
Well, not real. Well, we slowed down in one way, but in another we didn't. And I'll tell you exactly.
Because I hear that from the doo-wop singers.
Well,
the Beatles took away our music.
Well, what happened is when they first came here in '64, slowly but surely, a lot of groups like the Earls weren't working much.
Right.
The Four Seasons, they did fine. The Beach Boys, they did fine.
Right.
But what did the Earls do? We thought, hey, look, we're a Bronx group, and there's a lot of nightclubs in the Bronx. Why don't we approach some of these owners and see if they would like to have us in a house band situation. So, long story short, we wound up in a group. In a club called the Riviera Lounge.
Riviera Lounge.
Now we went in for 2 weeks and we stayed for 2 years.
Where's that located?
It was located on Yonkers Avenue in Yonkers, New York.
Oh, Yonkers.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So we went in for 2 weeks. You know, that was supposed to be it, but we stayed for 2 years because it was going so well. 2 years. In that 2 year span, we worked with every group that you can think of. I mean, they had hits at the time. Anthony, Little Anthony, I
Little
should
Anthony.
say. Four Tops, and on and on and on and on. And Jimmy and myself and the keyboard player, Richie Levisler, we had the pleasure, I have to say, to back up a lot of these groups, and it was fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, we were Patti LaBelle, and on and on. So
it must have been a pretty big place.
It was a big place. It had 2 rooms, an upstairs room and a downstairs room.
Wow.
But we had that place rocking.
I would imagine people came from all over, Jersey, Connecticut.
It was a very popular club, very popular club.
Okay.
And we stayed there for 2 years. Unless, I mean, the owner
So we're
would let
talking
us,
around 65, 1965?
65, 66. The owner would let us go if we had a show to do that was, you know, a good show. So we did it. But for the most part, we were at the Riviera Lounge for 2 years. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every week, week after week. And so that's how, I don't want to say survive, but that's how we kept our chops up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And oh no, forget it. We had a following.
All right, so now that run is over.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell
did
you,
we get back on the road?
Well, what followed, not too long
Were you
after that,
recording then? Do you remember that?
we were recording under another name. And that name was Smokestack.
Really?
Yeah, what we did, you know, the groups like Blood, Sweat, and Tears came along, and Chicago, and things like. So we started a band with 9 pieces. We had horn players. Larry played conga up front. Ronnie Calabrese, the late Ronnie Calabrese, played timbales. Of course, I played drums. And so we had a band, a real swinging band. We had called Smokestack. Now this went on for a few years, into 69, 70, 1971. We get a call from the editor of Rock Magazine, Larry Marshak. He's starting to do revival shows.
Okay.
So we did it's not his first, one of his first at the Academy of Music. And that night I said to Larry, this is great. I wonder how long it's going to last. It's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still doing those shows as the Earls. Smokestack lasted a couple of years.
Now, just hold that note for a second, because Jimmy Fracassi and Larry started recording a couple of disco, upbeat, Motown type of music.
Well, that was the group.
Oh, okay.
That was the group,
Great.
Smokestack.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so the Earls are still going strong.
Yeah, thank
all
God
these
for that.
shows,
Yeah.
playing all over the area. And you have a website? The Earls have a website?
Absolutely.
And it is
LarryChanceandtheEarls.com.
LarryChanceandtheEarls.com.
And you'll see, check it out. You'll
You have
find
your
it.
own website?
No, I don't have my own, no.
Oh, okay, well, maybe you should.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, great. Keep rocking. We love Larry Chance and the Earls.
Thank you.
That's for sure. And
Thank
it's
you.
great music, great entertainment,
Can I
all these years.
I'm sorry, Dennis. I want to add one more thing.
Okay.
And that is, I went from liking rock and roll a lot to loving it, and that was because of Larry Chance and the Earls.
Right.
They changed my whole attitude.
Okay. And one more thing. Were you in a group with the gentleman that died that Larry always dedicates, I believe?
That's Larry Palumbo.
Larry.
He never made it to do any jobs with us.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we got to go. So I want to thank you.
Thank you,
Bobby
Dennis.
T of the
Thank you.
Earls.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
to the BronxNet and the staff, producers Vic Sabatini, Al Belfiore, Just Nuts Music School. Maybe you should start teaching up there on Tremont Avenue. And my radio shows. Don't forget my radio shows. I'm on every morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then on weekends, I play music. And I have a website, clubdennis911.net. You can get all the info about me. Thank you for tuning into the show tonight. And as we go out, I say, God bless you. God bless the USA. And I look forward to another edition of Help Me Out. This is Rock and Roll. My name's Dennis Dion Nardone. Good night.
I can't answer the phone right now. Leave me a message and I'll call you back.
I know she's out there. I know it's true. She's probably dancing and feeling good. She's probably drinking, she must be flirting. She's got me worried, and that's no good. No, not the city girl. Took a chance with the BX girl. No, not the city girl. Took a chance with the BX girl. This girl is hot. This girl is fine. This girl is tougher than the ones I left behind. This girl is wild. She's really loud. When the party starts, you know she'll be around. No, not the city girl. Took the chance with the BX girl. No, not the city girl. Took the chance with the BX girl. She pulls her car up, opens up the door. She's still a lady, and that's for sure. Her clothes are tight, she looks so right. If the guys are looking, there'll be a fight. No, not the city girl. Took the chance with the BX girl. No, not the city girl.
I see what you're doing out there. I see those moves you're making. I'm here to let you know, baby, cause I'm the one. So my name is Vic and I'm really slick. And I pose my realists and I do them really quick. When I'm on the job, putting on the show, cause I'm looking bold out like another Rambo.
Hey Al, I got an idea.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.